Good evening, and welcome to the Solo Gamers Club. Tonight we'll be playing Dead of Winter by Plaid Hat Games. In this playthrough, I'll be testing a set of solitaire rules that I developed. These rules will have nothing earth-shattering in them, but it's simply a systematic way of playing the game in a solitaire fashion. For this playthrough, we'll be removing the betrayal cards from the secret objectives deck. They won't be used in the solitaire play. No exile cards will be used. Those can be put back into the box as no one can be exiled. Now I have both copies of Dead of Winter, the Crossroads game, and Dead of Winter, the Long Night. We're going to be combining that to some extent, and you'll see what I mean by that as we set up the game. All right, our next step is to select our main objective. I'm going to do this randomly, so we're going to cut that objective deck, and whatever we end up with at the top is going to be what we're playing. Okay, we'll give that a cut. And we've selected 8 Weeks of Darkness. Okay, we'll read the setup portion of the card. It says that the morale is going to start at 7, so we'll move our morale track marker to 7. And our round track is going to start at 8, so we will move that to 8. And our victory conditions are we have to survive for 8 rounds. It says at the start of the game, read section M01 on page 16. The time length of the game is going to be long, and we'll note in the bottom right-hand corner that is a Crossroads card, so that's an objective from the original game. And that'll become important once we set up the game. All right, we'll read that flavor text from the main objective. 10 Weeks of Darkness, January 30th. This place is as dead as the things that hunt us. When we formed the colony here, we thought we could live off the town for years, but we misjudged what this place had to offer. I can only assume it's been hit by other survivors, and much of the goods and supplies we should have been able to find are in short supply. Canned goods, ammunition, fuel. Everything we need is in conspicuously small quantities. We need to move on, but it's just too cold. We should wait, praying for the weather to let up so we can get the convoy rolling again and start the miserable search all over again. It seems like each time I'm ready to eat a bullet, a new crisis appears, and suddenly I'm fighting as if living is the only thing that matters. We'll place our main objective card on the spot on the board, and we have the option of playing this in the hardcore mode, which would be to use the opposite side of the card, but I think for this test of the solitaire rules, I'm going to keep this more on the simple side. As a part of the solitaire rules, we're going to be controlling 2 teams of survivors. And as the solo player, we're going to attempt to play both of those teams as strongly as we can to make the best game possible. The game will be played using the standard rules, but there will be some exceptions, and that basically deals with the Crossroad deck. In order for us to utilize that with the hidden element of that deck, we're going to have to declare the major portions of our turn before we inspect the Crossroad card. If any of those conditions would kick in with what we have declared we're going to do, then those conditions will be implemented. Okay, we'll place our crisis deck in the indicated spot. And now we're going to deal each team 3 survivors, and then we'll allocate them once they have been revealed. Okay, we'll start with Team A, and we'll start out with drawing. We have Jamie Gilmore, Private Investigator. Talia Jones, the Fortune Teller. And Maria Lopez, the Teacher. All right, Maria has the highest rating, so I think what we'll do is we're going to place Maria in charge. She's the group leader, and the other 2 will be followers of hers. All right, we'll do the same then for the B team. And those are revealed to be Derek Yoshida, nutritionist; Rohan Patel, small business owner; and Forrest Blum, the mall Santa. Okay, well, it looks like we're going to make Rohan Patel as the group leader, and the other two, Derek and Forrest, will be followers. All right, now the next step is we're going to examine our objective card again. In the lower right corner, we'll notice that there's symbols there. That is the symbol for Crossroads. That's the initial game that was released. So we're going to use all of the cards, the location cards, that have that symbol, and the long night decks will be set aside. We won't use them in this playthrough. That's going to ensure that we keep all the cards that we would be intended to have to complete the objective. So now, using the Crossroad Edition cards, these are the starter cards, and we're going to deal 7 cards to each team. 1, 2, 7. Okay, the starter cards are going to be put back in the box. We won't need those anymore. All right, and the cards for Team A are as follows. They're going to start out with a medicine, 2 junk, 1 food, and 3 fuel cards. And Team B is going to begin with 1 fuel, 4 food cards, and 2 junk. And it looks like Team A is going to have the first player marker. Marie Lopez has a 48 and Rohan Patel has a 46. So they'll start out with the first player marker. And now we've placed all of the location decks at each of the locations, and we're using the cards from the original Crossroads version of the game. Now, as a part of the solitaire rules, we are able to put in any of the modules that we might want to use, such as the improvements module, bandits, or Raxon modules. But I think in this case, as a test, we're going to leave those out until we can see how this rule set works. We are going to be using these rules that are random locations, the graveyard, despair, unruly helpless survivors, and explosive traps. Those will be an active part of the game. And our final step before we start play is we're going to assign a secret card to each team. Now, we've removed the betrayal cards from this deck. We'll give that a cut, and then we're going to draw a card for each team. Team A has Burn It All Down. You win the game if all of the following is true. The main objective has been completed. The colony has at least 4 barricades, and you must have at least 1 fuel card in your hand. All right. And Team B, their objective is Protected. You win the game if all of the following is true. The main objective has been completed, and you have at least 2 weapon cards equipped to survivors that you control. Okay, we'll put those in our secret objective slots, and we're going to attempt to fulfill those as we play. All right, I've placed the models out in the colony, Team A and Team B. It's very difficult finding those models with when you have all the expansions. I'm going to need to keep those separate in each box. That'll be the only way I'm going to be able to track these down in a timely fashion. And then as a part of the objective, the main objective, it says we need to add 1 helpless survivor token to the colony for each player. So we're going to be adding 2 of those, 1 for each team. And then it says we have to add 1 zombie to each non-colony location. All right, we've added 1 zombie to each of the non-colony locations, and we're ready to begin. And we'll begin the game by revealing our first crisis. Okay, the crisis card is Blizzard. All right, we have to have a number of fuel equal to the number of non-exiled players. So we're going to need 2 fuel. If we fail, non-exiled survivors cannot move until the end of the next round, losing 1 morale. Optional, add 2 additional fuel cards to gain 1 morale for preventing the crisis. Okay, and now we're going to roll our action dice. Each team is going to begin with 4 dice. They have 3 players plus the 1 that they get automatically. We'll roll for Team A. That's the one headed by Maria Lopez. Okay, she had a pretty good roll. A 6, 2 5s, and a 4. We'll place those on the unused action dice portion of her card. And now we'll roll for Team B, headed by Rohan Patel. He didn't get such a good roll. 2 2s and 2 3s. And now we're ready to begin our player turns. We'll begin with Team A, that's headed by Maria Lopez. Before we begin the turn, let's take a look at the survivors in each of the teams. We'll start out with Team A, that's headed by Maria Lopez, the teacher. She has an influence of 48, a combat value of 4, and a search value of 2. She has a special ability that says School, and for a die of 1 or greater, once per round you may kill 1 zombie at the school. Do not roll for exposure. Okay, that's a pretty good ability. Then we have Talia Jones, the fortune teller. She has an influence of 28, a combat of 3, and a search value of 1. And her special ability is Anywhere. Once per round, you may look at the top 2 cards of the crisis deck and place them back in any order. Then you may say exactly 2 words to all players about the crisis cards, nothing more. And then finally we have Jamie Gilmore, private investigator. She has an influence of 43, a combat of 3, and a search of 2. And her special ability is a non-colony ability. Once per round during your turn, you may look at any player's hand who has a survivor that shares the location with Jamie. All right, that won't be real valuable to us in a solitaire play, but that's what it is nonetheless. And now for Team B. Team B is headed by Rohan Patil. He's a small business owner. He has an influence of 46, a combat of 5, search of 4. His special ability is Anywhere. When Rohan receives a wound, you may re-roll 1 action die in your unspent action dice pool. When Rohan would receive a despair token, ignore it instead. And then his followers are Derek Yoshida, the nutritionist. He has an influence of 23, a combat of 2, search of 3, and his special ability is Anywhere. As long as Derek is in play, players may spend a food token during their turn to remove any type of wound token from their survivor. Players may do this multiple times during their turn. Well, it's a very powerful special ability. And then finally we have Forrest Blum, the mall Santa. He has an influence of 14, combat of 2, search of 5, and his special ability is Anywhere. At the beginning of your turn, you may remove Forrest from the game to raise morale by 1. Okay, and so that would be our the background of our players, our survivors, and now we'll start the first turn. In order to make the Crossroads cards a viable mechanic in a solitaire game, we're going to have some way of preempting that card before we know the results of what it says. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically outline my actions ahead of time in a raw, basic format, and then we'll see if that card ends up to apply to what we're doing. So we'll just give a rough idea of our actions, and then we'll see how that works out. This is one of the parts of the solitaire game that was the most difficult to deal with. And I do want to include the Crossroads cards. They're an integral part of the game, and I think this is really the only way to do it, at least for the moment. And we'll begin with Team A. Now I put some colored chips down on the on their team displays. The A team is going to be a red and the B team will be blue. And that might be a little easier for me to keep things track in my head with a color association. All right, we're going to start planning out our turn then for the red team. Okay, we'll outline the red team's actions for this coming turn. For sure, they're going to be contributing a fuel card to the crisis. They have 2 fuel cards, or I'm sorry, 3. So they'll definitely be contributing to that. Maria Lopez is very effective being a teacher at the school. So we're going to try to move her to the school, and that will allow her to use her special ability there at killing zombies at the school without having to roll the exposure die. So I'm going to move her there. I will more than likely use a fuel card to get her there so we can prevent having to roll that pesky die. Talia Jones, once per round, she can look at the top 2 cards of the crisis deck and place them back in any order. And so I think we'll have her do that. She'll definitely be doing that. And then Jamie Gilmore, once per round during your turn, you may look at a player's hand. Well, we're not going to get anything from that because this is pretty somewhat exposed because of the solitaire nature. So I think we'll do that. And we'll just, right now, we'll take a look at the Crossroads card and see if any of that would have been affected by what we are proposing. Okay, the Crossroads card is the Arctic King. And that says, if the player performs a search at the gas station. Okay, well, we're not going to be doing that. So it looks like that Crossroads card will not kick in. We'll leave that off to the side. And now we'll start performing our actions. We're going to add that fuel card to the crisis. That's one of the 2 that we need. And then Maria Lopez is going to move to the school. And we're going to use a fuel card to get her there so that we don't have to roll the that pesky dice. All right. Then we're going to use Talia Jones's ability to look at the top 2 crisis cards and put those back in any order that we choose. Okay, those cards are Waste Not and Medicine Shortage. All right, Waste Not, we need food. If we fail, all food cards that are removed from the game, take all food cards that are removed from the game and place them in a waste pile. Okay, lose a morale. And then medicine shortage, number of, we need medicine equal to the number of non-exiled players. If we fail, remove 2 survivors with the lowest influence. Okay, well, we're going to place that as second. And actually, yeah, I think we'll do that. So that'll be the second card in the stack. And we'll replace those then. Okay, that's Talia's special ability. That fuel card that I played for Maria Lopez should have went into the waste pile. And I think what I'm going to do is play a food card from Jamie Gilmore is going to play that. And we'll add 1 food token to our food supply. Okay, we'll place the food token there. And now as a special action for Maria Lopez, she can play any die of 1 or greater. And her special skill is to kill a zombie at the school and not have to roll for exposure. So she's going to play a 4, and then we're going to kill this zombie that's at the school. We'll move that dice to our used dice area. And then I'm going to play a 5-value dice, and we'll have Maria Lopez do a search at the school. Her value for search is a 2. That card is revealed to be food 2. Okay, well, we'll keep that. That's good. That's great. We'll add that to our total. And Maria is going to spend a 5 dice, and she's going to do another search at the school. That time we find a baseball bat. Okay, she's going to equip that. It says once per round when performing an attack with this survivor, you may kill 2 zombies instead of 1. Okay, we'll equip that to Maria Lopez. And the red team is going to play another card. They'll play a food 2 card they just got, and we're going to add 2 food tokens to the supply. So that gives us a total of 3 food tokens. And I think with our last action die, we're going to spend that 6 action die, and we're going to have Jamie Gilmore build a barricade. And she's going to place that barricade at position 1 at the colony. And I think that's going to complete all the actions I want to do with the red team, and we'll move on to the blue team now. Okay, my actions for the blue team will be roughly as follows. We're going to be adding a fuel card to the crisis, and that will get us the 2 cards that we're going to need to protect us from that blizzard. We'll be adding some food to the food supply at the colony. And I'm probably going to move Derek Yoshida to the grocery store where he's going to search for some additional food. Forrest Plum will probably do some cleanup around the colony, and we'll see how that works out. We'll draw our crossroads card now and see how our actions will align with that. And the crossroads card is heads up. If a survivor the player controls performs a search at the police station. Okay, well that isn't going to happen because we weren't planning on sending anybody there, so that card will not kick off. And now we'll just make our moves as we've planned. Okay, we're going to be adding a fuel card to the crisis. I'm going to contribute 2 food cards. That'll get us 2 more tokens to the food supply. That'll bring our food supply total to 5. And our plan was to move Derek Yoshida to the grocery store. And we're going to have to roll the die, though, to see what happens. All right, now Derek has to roll his exposure die, and we'll have to see what happens. And here's the roll. Okay, he rolled a blank, so that's as good as we can do. All right, that's great. And I think we'll have Forrest Plum. He's at the colony. He's going to spend a 2-value dice, and he's going to do some cleaning of waste. That will allow him to dispose of 3 waste cards. So 2 cards remain, and the other 3 are discarded. And now Derek Yoshida, he is at the grocery store. I'm going to have him spend a 3-point die. And that is his search value is 3+. We'll have him conduct a search at the grocery store. And that card is revealed to be a hammer. He can equip it once per round when performing a barricades action. You may build 2 barricades instead of 1. Well, I think he'll keep that card. That's a good card, and we'll have him equip that. And I think I'll have Derek do another search there, and he'll spend a 3-point die, and we'll see what else he can find at the grocery store. All right, that one is an outsider. Add the top card of the survivor deck to your following and place their matching standee at the colony. All right, I don't know if we want to do that or not. Well, I think rather than attracting any unadded attention to the grocery store, we'll just take that card and I'll add that to our total. I think for our final action die, we're going to spend a 2-point action die, and we're going to have Rohan Patil build a barricade at the colony. And I'll have him place that at location 2. And I guess the blue team is going to play that outsider card. Add the top card of the survivor deck to your following and place their matching standee at the colony. Okay. All right, and that survivor is revealed to be John Price, a student. He has an influence of 18, an attack of 3, search of 3, and his special ability is at a non-colony location. When John is not at the colony, he's considered to have the ability of every other survivor he shares a location with. All right, well, we're going to place John's token in the colony occupants box, and we'll add him to list of followers for the blue team. And I think that's going to complete the player turns for the blue team. We'll move on to the colony phase. All right, our first step is to pay food. So we're going to take our total number of survivors and divide by 2, round up, and that's the number of food tokens that we need to pay so that we can remain in supply. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Half of that is 3.5. We round up, that's 4, so we have to spend 4 food tokens. Okay. Okay, then we check waste. Well, we're not anywhere near 10 cards. We only have 2 there now. The next step is we have to resolve the crisis. And it says we need a number of fuel cards equal to the number of non-exiled players. That's 2, and we have 2. So that's great. And those cards are going to be removed from the game. They don't go into the waste pile. So we'll remove those from the game. And the blizzard is done. So we're able to complete that. Put that at the bottom of the deck. And now we have to add zombies. We'll start out with the colony. And it's the same as for food supply. We take the total number of members at the colony, divide by 2, and round up, and that's the number of zombies we have to place. So we'll be placing a total of 4. First, we do this in order from 1 to 6. We'll place 1 here. The barricade would destroy that one, so that zombie's dead. The second one is a barricade. That zombie's dead. Third one is placed, and the fourth one is placed. Now we have to place a zombie for each survivor at each non-colony location. So we'll be placing 1 at the grocery store and 1 at the school. And then we're supposed to check our main objective. Well, we have to survive 8 rounds basically, so we've got to get that round marker down to 0. And speaking of the round tracker, we move that now down 1 to turn 7. And then we're going to pass the first player token that's going to go from the red team to the blue team. And that completes a full turn with the solo rules. And we'll play another turn, and I think what I'm going to do is we'll reevaluate this after we play another turn. And we'll see if we're enjoying this or not, or if this solo rules need to be tweaked or anything along those lines. We want to have fun in this, and so far this seems fun, but I think it needs a little bit more playing to give it a good evaluation. And we'll start the next round by revealing a crisis. This one is called Waste Not. We need food equal to the number of non-exiled players. Okay, so that's a total of 2. If we fail, take all food cards that were removed from the game and place them into the waste pile. Lose 1 morale. We have the option of placing 2 additional cards to gain 1 morale for preventing the crisis. Okay. And now we're going to roll our action dice. We'll start with the blue team. Now, that team has a total of 4 survivors, plus the 1 die that they get to start. So they're going to be rolling a total of 5 dice now. Okay, here's their roll. And they rolled 3 4s, a 6, and a 3. Okay. Now the red team will roll. They still have a total of 3 survivors, so they'll be rolling a total of 4 dice. Okay, here's their roll. And they rolled a 1, 3, 5, and a 6. Okay. All right, the blue team is the first player for this second turn, and we'll outline what we expect to accomplish. The blue team is the only team that has any food that can contribute to the crisis. So they're definitely going to be contributing their 2 food that they have towards that. All right, I think we're going to leave Derek Yoshida at the grocery store, and since he has that hammer, we're going to have him build some barricades there, and that will prolong his ability to stay at the grocery store and search. I think we'll move John Price, the student, we'll move him to the gas station. Part of the blue team's secret mission is to get firearms and weapons, rather. So I think that might be a good place for them to try to pick up some weapons and some gasoline. So we'll have probably him move to the gas station. Forrest will remain at the colony, as will Rohan Patel. And now we'll take a look at our Crossroads card and see if anything that we're planning would have kicked this off. It's called Cole Winters. If Cole is in play and shares a location with a wounded survivor. Okay, Cole is not in play, so that card will not kick off, and we'll continue on with what we've planned. All right, the blue player is going to play 2 food cards in the crisis, and that will be sufficient to prevent that card from kicking off. We're going to have Derek Yoshida at the grocery store. He's going to use the hammer. It says once per round, when performing a barricade action, you may build 2 barricades instead of 1 at that location. So he's going to use a 3-point die, and he'll build 2 barricades at the grocery store. And we'll place both of those barricades at that spot. And then we're going to have John Price. He's going to travel from the colony to the gas station. And we'll have to roll the exposure die to see if he has any trouble with that. Here's the roll. And he rolled a wound. And we're going to add a wound token to his card. And then John Price at the gas station is going to use a number 4 die, and he is going to do a search action at the gas station. That card is revealed to be an outsider. Okay. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll make a little noise. I'm going to try to redraw that. We'll place a noise token down there, and then we'll draw another card. That time it's food. Okay, he's going to keep the food then. That's good. We'll add that to our total, and then this card will go to the bottom of the stack. And now Derek Yoshida at the grocery store, we're going to have him use a number 4 die, and he's going to do a search at the grocery store. That's revealed to be medicine. All right, well, that's a good card. We'll keep that. That's good. We'll add that to our card total. And I think we'll have Yoshida do another search again. We'll move a 4 value dice over and have him perform a search at the grocery store. And he got medicine. Well, I guess we'll keep that. We'll take that medicine card. And the blue team has 1 action die left. It's a 6. So I think I'll have John Price at the gas station. I'll have him use that die to conduct a search. His search value is a 3, and he finds medicine. Well, we don't really need that. I don't want to add any more noise to that location, so I guess we'll just accept the medicine. And that's going to end the turn then for the blue team. Okay, now it's the red team's turn, and we definitely are going to need some food to feed the colonists. So I think what we'll do is I'm going to have Jamie Gilmore move from the colony and join Maria Lopez at the school. And we're going to definitely be searching at the school. Talia Jones is going to use her special ability to look at the top 2 cards of the crisis deck and replace them back in an order that she wishes. And then I'll more than likely have Maria Lopez use her special ability, school. Once per round you may kill a zombie at the school. Do not roll for exposure, so she'll end up spending a die for that. Okay, we'll take a look at our crossroad card. And that card is revealed to be Outsiders. If a survivor the player controls is at the colony. Okay, and that is the case. So I guess we'll read on. I need everybody at the gate right now. There's a flatbed that just pulled up, loaded with refugees. Every player with one or more survivors at the colony must vote with a thumbs up or thumbs down. The option with the most votes will take effect. And the thumbs up option is, we don't have much, but if your people are willing to pull their own weight, we can give you a home. For the winter at least. After that, you're on your own. Each player draws one survivor from the survivor deck and adds it to their following. Each player also adds one helpless survivor to the colony. And then the thumbs down option. I'm sorry, we just can't take on anymore. You're going to have to keep moving. Their faces suggest they've heard those words too many times before. They look downward in acceptance, and soon the truck is driving away. 3 days later, you find the truck collapsed on the side of the road. The people are gone, but blood is caked on the road. Nothing happens. Well, I'm definitely going to be voting thumbs down. We can't even feed what we have now with the food and the supply. So how we're going to handle the thumbs up or thumbs down rules is the solo player will make his decision. In this case, we're voting thumbs down. And then we're going to roll 2 dice. On an odd, it's considered a thumbs up. On an even, it's considered a thumbs down. And then that will decide what's happening. So we're going to vote thumbs down. So we'll give ourselves a even die for that. And now we're going to roll 2 other dice. And that'll tell us what the decision is. Here's the roll. Okay, we have 2 odd. Okay, 2 odd and 1 even. So that's 2 thumbs up and 1 thumbs down. It's going to be a thumbs up option will be what is happening. So each player is going to draw a survivor from the survivor deck and add it to their following, and then we're also going to be adding a helpless survivor to the colony. Okay. So we'll add our helpless survivors to the colony. Each group is going to be adding 1. And then we'll be drawing our survivor cards. This one will be for the red team. And the red team gets George Coleman, an economist. He has an influence of 72, a 5 attack, and 4 search. His special ability is anywhere if George is in your group. If George is your group leader. Whenever you play a card from your hand to the waste pile, roll a die. If you roll a 6, return the card to your hand after resolving its effect. Okay, he's going to be added to the red team. And now the blue team's survivor is Oscar Rios, auto mechanic. He has an influence of 25, 3 attack, and 1 search. His special ability is, if Oscar is your group leader, whenever you play a fuel card, roll a die. On a result of 3 or higher, add the card to your hand after resolving its effect. All right. We'll add George Coleman to the red group and Oscar Rios to the blue group. And that seems to be a pretty good way to handle that thumbs up and thumbs down actions that happen during the game, at least from a solo standpoint. All right, we're going to move Jamie Gilmore from the colony, and she's going to join Marie Lopez at the school. And I do have a fuel that I could spend to get her there. I think I'm going to take a chance and we're going to roll. Here's the exposure roll. And she rolled a frostbite, unfortunately. So we're going to have to get her a frostbite token. And we'll place that on her card. Now Derek Oshida, His special skill says that as long as Derek is in play, players may spend a food token during their turn to remove any type of wound token from their survivor. So I think we're going to do that. The red team is going to spend one of the food that is in the supply, and we'll use that to cure Jamie Gilmore of her frostbite condition. And I think what we'll do is we're going to have Maria Lopez use her special ability. We're going to spend a 1 value die, and that will allow her to use her ability. Once per round, you may kill one zombie at the school. Do not roll for exposure. So she's going to kill the zombie at the school. And now they're going to have Talia Jones, the fortune teller, use her special ability. Anywhere. Once per round, you may look at the top 2 cards of the crisis deck and place them back in any order. That's what you'll do. Okay, so our crisis deck, top 2 cards. Okay, we've either got medicine shortage or they're watching us. Be medicine or medicine and tools and weapons, or tools rather. I think what we'll do is we'll put the they're watching us as the next card to be drawn, and the medicine shortage will be beyond that. Okay. And I'm going to have Maria Lopez spend a 3-point action and have her do a search at the school. And she finds 3 outsiders. Okay, well, we don't necessarily want that. So I think what we'll do is we're going to put a noise token there and see if we can redraw that. Food 2. Yeah, we'll take that. That's good. So we're going to keep the food 2, and the outsiders will go to the bottom of the deck. And I think we'll play that right away, the food 2 card. Add 2 food tokens to the supply, and that goes into the waste pile. And we'll place 2 food in our food supply. Okay. And we have 2 action dice left. We'll play a 5 and have Maria Lopez do another search. And this time she finds more food. Okay, that's good. I think we'll play that right away, and we'll add a food to the supply. That goes into the waste pile. Okay. And I think we're going to do a move action with George Coleman. That's our new character that we acquired. And we're going to move him to the library. I think it would be consistent thematically with what he seems to be like as a character. And we're going to have to roll the exposure die for him. And he rolled a wound. Okay, so we're going to give George a wound. And we have 1 die left. It's a 6 value. We'll spend that and have George do a search at the library. His search value is a 4 or greater. And here's the card that George is picking. You got a fuel card. Okay, I will keep that. That's good. All right. Well, we know that medicine is going to be important in the upcoming crises cards that we were able to look at, courtesy of Talia Jones's fortune teller ability. All right. And I think that's going to end the player turns. We'll move on to the colony phase. Okay, our first step is to pay food. That would be the total number of survivors and helpless survivors divided by 2. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to need to pay 4 food tokens. Well, we don't have that. So that means we're going to take a starve token. And the rules read, if there are not enough food tokens, do the following in order. Do not remove any food tokens. Add a starvation token to the food supply. All right, so we will add a starvation token to the food supply. And then it says decrease morale by 1 for each starvation token currently in the food supply. Well, that's going to be just 1 then, so we're going to move down from 7 to 6. Next step is check waste. Okay, we'll see what we've got in the waste pile. Got a total of 4, so we're all right. That only kicks in if it goes above 10. And now we have to resolve the crisis. We need a number of food cards equal to the number of non-exiled players, which is 2. And we've got the 2. So that will complete that card. We'll put that at the bottom of the deck. And those cards are discarded from the game. And our next step is to add zombies. We'll start with the colony. We have a total of 8 survivors and helpless survivors. So we're going to be adding 4 zombies to the colony. And we add those in order of the gate numbers. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Now we have to add 1 zombie for each at the non-colony locations, 1 for each survivor at the location. So we'll have to add 1 at the gas station, 2 at the school, and 1 at the grocery store. Now that's going to hit that barricade, and that will prevent that from having to be placed there. So that's good. All right, we'll check our objective, and no, we have to get to survive 8 rounds. We haven't done that yet. We'll move the round track. That'll go from 7 down to 6. So we've got 6 more rounds to survive. And then we're going to move our first player token. That's going to go from the blue team back to the red, and that is going to end that turn. Well, so far the solo rules seem to be fairly enjoyable. It's not a burden to play the game, and I am able to utilize most of the mechanisms in the game by this method, so it seems to be all right. We'll continue playing another turn. And we'll begin the turn by revealing the crisis. And this time, it is they're watching us. Okay, we need to have a number of medicine or tools equal to the number of non-exiled players. That's 2. If we fail, we're going to add 3 zombies to the library and 3 zombies to the grocery store. As an optional, we can add 2 additional cards to gain 1 morale for preventing the crisis. Next step is we're going to make our action rolls. Okay, the red player is currently going to be rolling 5 dice now with the addition of George Coleman. Okay, here's their roll. And he rolled 2 5s, 2 3s, and a 2. Now the blue team, with the addition of Oscar Rios, they'll be rolling 6 dice. Okay, they had a pretty good roll. They've got a 6, 3 5s, and 2 2s. All right, now the planning for the red team. I'm going to have Maria Lopez and Jamie Gilmore. They're at the school. They're going to remain there. I'm going to have Maria probably combat those zombies, and then they're going to perform some searches there. George Coleman is currently at the library. I'm going to leave him there, and he's going to do some searching at the library. And I'll have Talia Jones remain at the colony, and she'll do some cleanup, and she'll probably use her special ability with the crisis cards. Okay, we'll pull a crisis card and see what happens. Okay, it's called Fernanda Suarez. If Fernanda Suarez is in play and not exiled, okay, well, she's not in play, so that card will not launch. And now we can just perform our turn as we wish. All right, we'll start out with, I think we're going to contribute some stuff to the crisis. And I think what we'll do is I'll have them contribute 2 junk. And that would be sufficient to solve that, because it's medicine or tools. All right, so we'll go with that. Then I'm going to have Talia Jones. She's going to spend a 2 value die, and she's going to clean up some of the waste. So we'll get rid of 3 waste cards there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, leaves us with 1 card. And I think I'm going to have George Coleman do a search at the library. So we'll use a 5 value die there. And his search of the library produces 1 food. Okay, well, we're going to spend that right away, and we'll add that to the food supply. We'll add a food there, and then it goes into the waste. We'll place that food token there. And I think I'll have George do another search there. His search value is a 4. We'll play a 5 value die and have him search at the library. And he gets a fuel. All right, we'll keep that. A fuel is important for us to complete our secret objective, have at least 1 fuel card in hand. And we have to build barricades. That's another thing I need to do. Okay. And I think what we'll do then is have a little bit best of both worlds. I'll spend a 3-point value, and we'll have Maria Lopez do a search at the school. And she gains a megaphone. Waste pile. Move 4 zombies from one location to a location that a survivor you control is at. Optional. When placing this into the waste pile, shout what you said into the megaphone. Okay. All right, so I'll accept that. We'll add that to our card total. And then I think Maria will spend a 3-point die. It's our last die. She's going to use the baseball bat. It says once per round, when performing an attack with this survivor, you may kill 2 zombies. So I think that's what we'll do. We're going to kill 2 zombies there. And then we have to roll for, see if she has a bite. And she ends up with a frostbite. So we're going to have to give her a frostbite token. All right, and we'll place that on Maria's card. All right. I just noticed I had some noise markers out on the board that should have been dealt with the last turn, so I think I'm going to do that right now. All right, we're going to roll a die then for those noise markers. The first one was at the school. On a roll of 3 or less, a zombie would appear. And yeah, there is going to be one there, so we'll get a zombie out and place that at the school. And then there's also one at the gas station. And that could be a problem. Okay, we'll make a roll there. And rolled a 3. Okay, so that means a zombie would appear there. All right, now that is not good. All right. There is an alternate way, by the way, of handling these noise tokens. They tell you in the rules that you can flip them in the air like a coin, and if it lands with the exclamation points that's noise, that would attract a zombie. If it's just the ear, then nothing. So you would make a flip, like that. It's another quick way to do it, I guess. All right. And I think we're going to have the red team play a card that's a medicine card. Remove any type of wound token from a survivor you control. And that goes into the waste pile, so we'll do that. And we're going to remove the frostbite token from Marie Lopez. And I think we're going to play another card, and we're going to use that megaphone card. Waste pile. Move 4 zombies from one location to a location that a survivor you control is at. All right, I think what we'll do is we're going to have Talia Jones use that. She's going to move, 3 zombies from the gas station to the colony. We have enough room there, and that will help out John Price a little bit. So we'll move those to any spots that we wish at our current location. All right. We'll place that card into the waste pile. Okay, and I think that is going to end the red player's turn. We'll move on to the blue player. And we'll start out with the blue player. I'm going to play a 2-point action die and have Rohan Patel at the colony build a barricade. And we'll place that barricade in the number 1 zone. And I think I'll have him do that one more time. He'll play a 2 die and place a barricade also at the colony. And I'll place that one at the number 2 position. And then Rohan Patel will play a card. He's going to play the food card. That'll gain him 1 food token that he'll add to the supply. Put that into supply. And then this will go into the waste pile. Derek Yoshida is at the grocery store. I'm going to have him play a 5 die and do a search. And we'll see what he finds there. He finds food. Okay, that's great. We'll convert that immediately. I'll put that into the waste pile, and then we'll add a food token to the supply. And then I think I'll have Derek do that again. I'll use another 5 die and have him search at the grocery store. And he's got junk there. Well, I think we'll do a little noise. I'll place a noise token down there, and we'll have him draw again. Food 3. Okay, that's great. We'll convert that immediately. I'll have that spent. We'll put that into the waste, and we're going to gain 3 food tokens that we'll add to the supply. That'll keep us in good shape for a while. And I think we'll use John Price. He has a search value of 3. I'll spend a 5-point die and have him search at the gas station. And he finds a lighter. He can equip it once per round. When this survivor performs an attack, you may play a fuel card to kill 4 zombies instead of 1. Do not roll for exposure. Do not use the ability on the fuel card. All right. Well, we'll definitely equip that, and we'll equip that to John Price. It's a good card. All right, we have 1 action die left, and I think I'll spend that with John Price again. I'll have him search at the gas station. And that time he finds outsiders. Okay, well, we'll have to keep that card, I think. Maybe, no, he won't. I'm going to have him have a little noise and see if he can draw again. Fuel, yeah, that's much better. We'll take the fuel card. This will go at the bottom of the stack. And that is more than likely going to complete the turn. Yeah, I believe that's going to complete the turn for blue. That will finish the player turns. We'll move on to the colony phase. All right, the first is the pay food. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 colonists. Divided by 2 is 4, so we'll have to pay 4 food. We do have 1 hunger there, or starvation counter, I should say. And now we'll check waste. It's getting a little bit heavier there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 7 cards in the waste pile, so we're all right for the moment. Oh, this card should have been placed back underneath the grocery store. Okay. And now we need to add some zombies. We'll start with the colony. We're going to have to add 4 of them there, so we'll add 1, 2, that's going to be on the barricade, so that will prevent that one from having to be placed. 3, and 4. Now we have to place them at the non-colony locations. There'll be 1 at the gas station, 1 at the library, and we're going to need 2 now at the school. and one at the general store. And next is to check our objective. Well, no, we've got to get 8 rounds yet, so we've got quite a ways to go yet. The next step is to move the round tracker. We'll move down from 6 to 5. And then the first player token will pass. We'll go from the red player to the blue player. And that's going to end the turn. I did forget about that crisis. We're supposed to solve the crisis, and that was the "they're watching us" card. Number of medicine or tools equal to non-exiled players. We have 2 junk in there, so that one is finished. And these cards go to discard. And I think at this point I'm going to close the video. I think we'll end up continuing on with this video in a second episode. I'll see if I can finish this in one more episode. It is fun. I'm enjoying it. The rules are not burdensome, and that's always my main concern with coming up with solitaire rules. If it ends up to be that the cure is worse than the disease, that's something that you don't want to do then normally. So, all right. Thanks for joining me for this episode. I hope to see you again to finish up this solo playthrough of Dead of Winter. Thanks for joining me, and have a good evening.